Hi, everybody. Angel here. I hope you're doing great. And today I'm excited to speak with Natasha of Sassy 10 Fitness and Plant Based FM. And we will get started very soon. Thanks for joining. Please let me know where you're tuning in from around the world. It's always nice to know where you're tuning in from. And I invite you to also check out some of my previous Instagram lives with over 100 guests. They are on my IGTV channel, so you can check those out whenever you get a chance. And we will be speaking with Natasha momentarily. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. Hope you're doing great. Hi there. How are you?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining and taking the time to come and chat with us.
No, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So we have a few guests already here joining us. Please put your questions and comments down below for Natasha, and she'll be happy to answer as we go along. And also, it would be awesome to know where you're tuning in from. So you can just put that in the chat section, and we'd be happy to hear from you. So Natasha, we have lots to cover today. And again, thank you so much for taking the time. I was recently on Natasha's podcast, and it was super awesome to chat with you there. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to chat with you here as well. We have chatted before on Clubhouse, and so we've kind of been in contact, shall we say, over the last few months. So with that, I'm gonna just kick us right off into our conversation here, Natasha. And my first question for you, please, is if you could share with us how you started your plant-based journey and how you ended up to where you are today.
It's quite funny, actually, because I would never have put vegan or plant-based next to myself. I grew up eating meat. I did have some health issues that did have me eliminate certain foods.
Yes.
But I would never have said that I thought vegans or vegetarians were weirdos. Now I am one.
Yay! We're all weirdos in our own unique ways.
But it started, funny enough, both times were in a November, and typically on a Thursday. If you want to start something new, do not do it on a Monday. Do it on a Thursday. You're more likely to stick to it.
Awesome.
So I started on a Thursday. I don't know why. I just decided I wasn't going to eat meat or dairy. So I could go without meat, but I would consume yogurts. I don't eat cheese. And I would eat eggs. And I decided that I would I don't know why, just that I felt, yes, no, it was because what was it then? No, the second time was because of my skin. So I just had this go, and I did it for a month, and I thought, wow, that was actually really quite easy.
Yeah.
I would have carried on had it not been a friend's wedding that had already done the catering, and I felt that I needed to obviously eat what was ordered for me, and I just slipped back into the previous diet.
Yeah.
It was the following year. I don't know why again, that November, I chose then, but I had been struggling with my skin. And as I said, through health issues, I had started to eliminate certain foods, suffering with IBS. So I wasn't a big fan of red meat anyway, because it didn't really agree with me. I hadn't eaten cheese for over 20 odd years because, again, that's something that didn't sit well with me. So it was eliminating things because they didn't agree with me. Why put yourself through the pain? Yeah. So I decided to just that's it. And I was quite nervous that I would get a negative reaction from going to other friends or families, for dinner, and especially my parents that would, typically be meat eaters. And I remember going there for Christmas, and they actually really embraced it and were fine.
Oh my gosh.
And my dad was like, he would have been a staunch anti vegan. He actually could understand why I was doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And they've actually incorporated meat-free days in their diet, because he is a cancer survivor, and he is living with cancer. So I have explained to him the importance of why eating more vegetables is beneficial to him.
Yeah.
Because he's got prostate cancer. So that's when I started. It's over 2 years ago, and I'm here now. Unfortunately for me, my skin didn't improve, but it didn't stop me continuing the journey. I think it was hormonal because of that lovely menopause age that has thrown all my hormones out of whack. But I don't miss it. I do still, cook for my family that are meat eaters, and I don't, I like the smell. It's not that turns me off. I still cut the meat for them. It doesn't bother me. I just don't fancy eating it myself. I'm quite happy to do what I do.
Yeah, yeah. Your journey is similar to mine because I eliminated, meat, and in large part eggs and dairy, 20 years before I went vegan for health reasons. So in summary, inflammation, and then I discovered that I'm lactose intolerant, like about 2/3 of the global population. I was like you said, well, why put myself through it? So I started to eliminate dairy and eggs because eggs also gave my stomach just like somersaults and terrible reactions. And so I can relate to that, like where you're saying, and I never really enjoyed eating meat, all the blood and everything and all the gristles and this and that going on in it. And so I gravitated towards fish when I was younger. So I can really understand like how your journey progressed and how you decided slowly to eliminate certain foods that, were not serving you from a health perspective. And for myself, I didn't even know about, veganism and the animals and the planet and human health and all of that. I just was living in my own.
Me either.
I was living in my own bubble. Yeah.
Like a black hole, isn't it? That opens up. You're like, oh my God, wow.
Yeah. How come I never knew about this?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can really relate. And I'm really happy that your family was so, open, because some people do struggle with that. And the social challenges are huge for some people. And, I was speaking to someone just the other day on Clubhouse, and she was, you mentioned a wedding. She was going to a wedding. And in summary, there was a little bit of a, shall we say, a little bit of a hitch with the menu, because she and her husband were choosing a vegan option, and her mother-in-law was like, "Oh, I thought you'd choose the other one," and she was like, in her mind, she's like, "Yeah, but we're vegan, we wouldn't choose that one," and so it is tricky, and so it's nice that you have that support. Yeah, and that, your family's benefiting also from eating more plants.
I think they thought it was going to be a fad and that I wouldn't continue it. I think that's what a lot of it is. And they're just thinking, oh, yeah, sure, she'll just see that one out and it won't last. And then they're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
She hasn't gone back.
Yeah. I agree. That's awesome. I want to say hi to everybody who's joining, either live or on the replay. Please put your questions and comments down below for Natasha, and also let us know where you're tuning in from around the world. That's always cool to see. And while we wait, let's head on over to our next topic, which is fitness. So why and how did you become involved in fitness? And then that takes us to why you created Sassy 10.
Okay. I've always been a sporty person. I loved sport. I'm quite competitive. Liked playing netball, all the sports at school. And it wasn't until later in life that I actually started running. I never professed myself to be a runner, but if you put trainers on, you really are a runner. And I was encouraged to run a 10K race, and I had never run 10K. That seemed such a huge distance. I did that. As it turned out, it was the day before my husband was going into hospital with having his kidney. Well, he had kidney cancer, and that was going to be removed. It was a horrible operation, and he was in intensive care, and it didn't go well at the time, but he did pull through and survive.
Awesome.
So I raised money for charity, and I think the power of that 10K and being given a leaflet at the end for a 10 mile had me then go and run another race for charity. And then I suddenly started booking races, and where I live, it's very much a runner town. You cannot go anywhere without seeing about 10 runners. And so I just started doing all these different races, making friends with different people, and somehow then moved from that 10K up to marathon distance. And it was through that journey of training for the marathon, and I decided to take it really slow. It took me 3 years.
Awesome.
Because I did lots of half marathons in between. And it was through that journey, it's very much as much a physical and mental shift that I was training, that I suddenly started thinking I'd love to go into fitness more. And I'd always wanted to do something else. I do another job as well. I do lots of other things, but I wanted to do something else, and I always felt like it was under my nose. And I suddenly then thought, what if I become a personal trainer? And then I Googled at the time, am I too old? Because I was 45.
No. Oh.
So
I love
then I looked
that.
at, oh, I'm not too old.
Awesome.
So I
Awesome.
bite the bullet. And I decided and invested the money to study. And I was absolutely terrified to go back and hit the books. And I really, it was hard work for me. Yeah. But it also mentally taught me something to push against something that I'd feared. So I qualified as a personal trainer and started working in a gym. I worked ridiculous hours. I started right at the bottom, like with all the youngsters working stupid hours, but, they only have to do that. I was still doing another job, being a mum, being a wife, poorly.
No. See, that's your competitive nature.
And still training for those marathons. So it was pretty full on.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
And then COVID hit, and naturally we all had to switch to online. So a lot of my clients, I obviously started doing Zoom PT with, and we all somehow got through that first year. And the second year, I think it was in the November, it's something with November. In the November, I think it came to me about creating an online program. And it's normally through actual moments of desperation of wanting to throw the whole towel in, throw the towel in of the whole thing, giving up because it's so hard. It is hard to be an entrepreneur. It's not all rosy and easy. You have those peaks and troughs. And from the outside in, it can always look like you've got your shit together and you really haven't. I think I had one of these wobble moments where I was literally in tears and wanted to throw it all to the wall and give up. And I woke up at, I don't know, I think it was 4 a.m, and it came to me, Sassy, sculpt a stronger, sexier you. And from that, I then spoke to my mentor at the time. He went, I love the idea. And I was like, really? And it was born from that.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, I know you speak about, I call it midlife. So like midlife experiences and midlife, women in particular. And like I listened to one of your recent podcasts where you were talking, about building muscle and giving tips on that, on your podcast. And I was like, yeah, this is really like, it was all making sense, And what I really love about your journey is that you can really relate to people who are also starting later in life and who are like building up to, shall we say, a higher level of fitness, or even like, the body and mind connection, and, getting your mind in the game as well. It's not just your muscles, it's your mind, and I really like that you are able to understand that, because I'm sure you have people coming to you who are, we're all stuck in our ways. We're creatures of habit. And sometimes it is hard. It's hard to, get off the couch. And at least you have so many tips and tricks along the way of how you were able to stay in the game and stay motivated.
Yeah, I mean, that's the force thought or process that as a personal trainer, you're always motivated. No, you're not. you have the same days, and also your goals change. So as I said, I started out running, So when I was actually training for the marathon, I got incredibly lean because I'm just doing so many things to the point that my family were a bit concerned.
Yeah.
But my goals are completely different now. So as you were talking about strength and muscle,
Yeah.
I've changed my body composition, and I'm continuing to do that because, you know, it's an easier and quicker process to lose fat than it is to gain muscle. It takes a lot of time. But I was listening to a podcast literally the other day. I love listening to the sciencey ones. And they were just saying about, it was this professor talking about hypertrophy. He was saying, like, this is going to be the new thing. People are going to realize cardio, nah, you
Yeah.
know, that's not it. It's about muscle, because your muscle is being lost. Sarcopenia, it is happening. So as we age, we lose 3 to 8% per decade. If you do not do some form of resistance training, you are going to find yourself in trouble in later years. You know, we want to be mobile. We want to be able to balance. We want to be able to be coordinated. We need our muscles for that. So
Totally.
I've shifted. It's not that I won't run, but I'm into different goals. And again, that's all new to me.
Yeah, no, but see, that's the thing, like, you know, that you can relate to people who are new to the game and who are still a little bit stuck, you know, in the past, so to speak. You know, the other day, a woman was in one of the coaching rooms that I was holding, and she's in her late 60s, and she was also expressing that she felt she was losing muscle. She recently switched to a plant-based diet. So I think at that point she had been on a plant-based diet for about 5 months or so.
Okay.
And she felt like, you know, she had lost quite a bit of weight, and she felt amazing. And she did, however, notice that she, you know, she felt like her muscle was, I guess, dissipating a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's what you're saying. But see, the way I see it, and I don't know if you agree or not, but the way I see it, for example, when we switch from, you know, 60 plus years of, you know, consuming, let's say, a certain diet, and we switch over to a plant-based diet, you know, it's almost like we have to break it down to build it back up, and we get rid of a lot of waste, and then we have to like build it back up. Like, and how do you feel about that? And also, you know, about the criticism that we need to consume an animal-based diet to build muscle versus a plant-based diet? Because I'm sure, you know, that probably comes up sometimes.
There's interesting schools of thought, and I'm currently studying nutrition coaching at the moment.
Oh,
And
cool.
it really asks you to look for evidence. So to perform evidence-based practices,
Evidence-based, yes.
to look at the studies, and from their point of view, they are very much neutral about it. But you'll have everyone in the middle and on either side. And I've got some studies to listen to where they're saying about meat and obviously vegan protein powders, and are they of equivalent quality. All I'd say is that you've got to do what works for you. Yes, your body is going to take some time to adapt. If you've been eating obviously as I said, meat and dairy, not least the gut microbiome is going to shift and change, and you need to take some time with that, because you don't want to get that imbalance. If you was to throw too much fiber down your throat, you're going to feel really, really uncomfortable. So it does take time to evolve, and the problem is that you are probably going to hit a few roadblocks at the start, because you've been experienced, or you've been eating that diet for so long, that there is going to be a bit of kickback. And what happens is that people then find or feel that discomfort, and if they don't push through that, they'll give up. So they need the support, and from others that have gone through, say, oh no, that's normal. But a lot of people perhaps have been, dare I say it, constipated, and then they suddenly shift. You know, it's shifted to regular bowel movements, and they're not used to that, and it's gone too far the other way. So it's again, you've got to break through that, and then it will settle down. But you need to have the right support from the right people to not make you feel fearful of that switch. But with regards to the actual protein element, it's true. We do have to consume more products of a variety, a whole food plant-based diet, to pick up all of the essential amino acids. So to build muscle, it essentially is muscle protein synthesis, and that is activated by the amino acid in protein called leucine. That is the activator. Now, I don't know about you, but unless on a protein shake, do you ever see leucine written down? It's just
I haven't seen it, but I'm not the best person to ask either.
So it's just protein. So, you know, you see leucine written on a piece of steak. No, you don't. You just know that obviously the protein is in those meat sources. But you can get, and it's proven because you've only got to look out there. There's some amazing individuals that are plant-based. Neil Delgado.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Nimai, yes.
Nimai, the sculpted vegan. You know, if you're saying that people can't build muscle eating plant-based or vegan foods, that's just not true. And he's been he's never
meatless. Exactly.
Never eaten meat.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think you've got to look at evidence.
I agree. Thank you for saying that.
And not what's written, because you're going to see every example, you know, and you'll find, and this is where biases come in, because you will find information everywhere to fit your cause, and then you'll hold on to it. So we have to be careful as vegan and plant-based as well.
I agree.
Not then, you know, jump on that bandwagon or ram it down someone else's throat.
Thank you for saying that, Natasha, because, you know, I started to even like quote studies, research-based, evidence-based, you know, just so people don't think like I am actually also just, you know, here with my pom-poms cheerleading the plant-based diet and the vegan lifestyle, which I am doing. However, you know, I agree with you. And I thank you for saying that and for mentioning these, you know, super muscly, you know, plant-based vegan people out there. There's No Meat Athlete. I really appreciate the documentary, The Game Changers, that featured many high-level athletes who are plant-based vegan. So I really appreciate you saying that. We have a couple of questions, comments. How long have y'all been vegan? I've been vegan for about 4 years. Natasha shared that she's been here on this journey for about 2 years, is what I understood.
Yeah.
Exactly, over 2 years. We have a comment, I love vegan lifestyle. Yes, it's okay to let yourself cleanse. Yes, amino acids, the game changers. And no meat athlete.
I just will say, though, like with the Game Changers, there are a lot of biases in it. So please don't take that as face value, because they have used stuff to make things fit, and it's not a fair comparison on stuff. So you do need to almost throw the opposite side of the argument on things. But having said that,
question it a little bit.
Everyone should. And no one would dispute this, that they should be increasing their fiber, so their fruit and vegetables. We just happen to do it all the time.
No, and you know, thanks for saying that. Someone said the other day, you know, it's almost like we're in a fiber crisis. And many of the inflammatory conditions that, you know, we as humans experience could really be resolved in large part from an increase in fiber. And, you know, I'm really glad you talked about, you know, the elimination process where, you know, sometimes, you know, we are constipated and might go the other way. We get scared. We run. We're like, oh, my gosh, it's too much fiber. And I actually had someone in a coaching session say that she didn't want to like consume a certain method of the whole food plant-based because she was afraid of like going to the bathroom a lot.
I think it's something you do. It is a switch. I'm not going to lie.
I agree.
Typically, I was never one that was constipated, but I would go daily.
Yes.
I do go more than that now. I'll keep it that. But
that's fine.
But you have to think of it from the point of view that things shouldn't be staying in the gut for a long period of time. It should be a swift transit, and it shouldn't be difficult to pass. And so if you aren't going, and this is where the, you know, cancers do come, because we have got stuff in there that has been in there for far too long. You get that fiber, those whole grains, you are going to send everything through so much faster. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. It's good for us. And the other thing is not just fiber, but about fermented foods. So fermented foods are so good for the gut. It's where the, you know, obviously the gut microbes feed on it and produce long chain fatty acids.
Yeah, so, And thanks for bringing up the gut, because the gut is known as like the second brain. It's about the same weight as the brain in our heads. And it just regulates so much of like hormones. And like you're talking about all the, anti-inflammatory properties, our mood, are we happy? Are we sad? Are we angry, etc.? And I know, again, that you work with, midlife women who sometimes are experiencing these hormonal changes. And so I'm sure that, the way you're coaching them is really going to improve. And I've heard women say that they have seen drastic improvements in their hormonal challenges. So, I do. So that takes us then to your fitness offering. So please tell us about your fitness offerings, your coaching offerings. And also, I know that you mentioned, the world basically pivoted to online. So tell us a bit, please, more about your coaching offerings.
So I run my Sassy 10 program completely online. It's a 10-week program where I take ladies. I love working with ladies because I can understand, I can empathize because I'm going through it. And generally, I have had different age groups, but that helps obviously because I can show life experiences, shall we say, as a mum to younger members, and understanding for ladies that are going through the change. It's a 10-week process where I guide them not just obviously on fitness, but nutrition as well. So it's a big part, as you said right at the start, it's about the mindset. And if we don't get ourselves in the right frame of mind to start, we're not going to achieve anything. So I do give a lot of tools within the program to have the ladies go on a journey. That's what I see it as. I'm taking them from where they know they want change. They desperately want to change, but they don't know what to do and they don't know how to do it, and they can't stay accountable. They want someone to support them and have them there. And that's not meaning that they are failing, because everyone needs accountability.
I agree. I have coaches. Okay.
Yes. So I invest in a coach to keep me accountable. We all do. Yes. So I'll give an example of my latest lady. She's dropped just under 5 kg or just over 5 kg in 5 weeks.
Awesome. It's a lot.
Yeah. She's her photos are amazing. How she feels is fantastic. And the answers or the testimonials that I get back is about that energy. It's about that deeper level of that confidence, because when you start changing inside and you start seeing it, you start realizing that you are actually stronger. So Sassy 10, got a stronger and sexy you, isn't just about getting, obviously toned. It's about being stronger to tackle the outside world, to be able to know when to say no, to know when to say yes, to hold your ground and to embrace life, be positive and push yourself out your comfort zone. And this is what the ladies, I asked them at the end, have they sculpted a stronger, sexier you? And have they regained their sassy? I haven't had one say no yet.
I love it. Regain their sassy, because in essence, what you're saying is we all have our sassy inside of us. However, life covers it up. All these layers get, piled on, the expectations, the rules, the etiquette. Like you're saying, don't say no. Always say yes. Be a people's pleaser. Be a Miss Goody Two Shoes. All of that, right? And so it's so nice
for everyone else.
Yes, and it's so nice. Yeah, and it's so nice that you're basically like, chipping away at those layers and, uncovering the true essence of the person. And I love what you're saying, like to realize that we can actually do more than we think we can, especially with the right support system.
Sure. We all need support. We are social beings as well. We need that accountability, but we also want a pat on the back. Who doesn't like to be told that they're doing well? Who doesn't like to go, look what I've done, and someone say you're doing really well? We can always learn from different people. And as you said, I invest in coaches. If I want to be a better person, then I go to people that have been there, done it, and got the t-shirt.
Totally. I want to say hi to everybody who's joining. Please put your questions and comments down below for Natasha, and she'll be happy to answer along the way. So tell us, please, about your Facebook group.
So to be honest, actually, the Facebook group, that's one of the things that I've dropped in so many, because there are so many things that you've got to juggle on the different pools. So that is one of the ones that I've dropped more. But I'm very active in a plant-based Facebook group,
Awesome.
plant-based and fitness Facebook group, which has got a huge following.
Awesome.
And in there we offer a fitness program and also recipes, and it's the sister group of an even bigger plant-based Facebook group. So it's
Awesome.
plant-based for busy people.
Okay.
Plant-based recipes for busy people. So it's a huge Facebook group. I mean, it's I don't know, it's phenomenal, the actual numbers in there.
Okay.
So I am part of that with Stephanie Taylor, who is Zest Forever. And that is exclusively, obviously, about whole food, plant-based eating. So there's loads of recipes, loads of support in there, and that's where you'll find me more active rather than in my own personal one. Yes. I pretty much keep my coaching one-to-one with the ladies on the Sassy 10 program.
Yeah, well, I love that you're reaching more people in that other group as well. Tell everybody once again the name of the Facebook group in which you are, like, I don't know, an administrator or one of the leaders. Tell us the name again, please. Yeah,
so it's plant-based for busy people, plant-based eating recipes for busy people, plant-based fitness as well. So I can give you the links if you want to, obviously, populate that.
Awesome. That's great. But, Facebook groups are very powerful. I'm in several Facebook groups, and I really learn a lot, to be honest with you. And it's nice to be able to share and, chime in on the conversation sometimes if I feel like I have something worthwhile to say. So, yeah, that's definitely an awesome arena that you've chosen.
I'm in quite a lot of Facebook groups, and that's the thing. So, then that's where your time is spent with all of them. I also coach in a gym, and we have a Facebook group for all of those ladies. So I'm very active in that one.
Awesome.
I'm very active, obviously, in those other ones, and also I'm very active in the moment of Bone Cancer Trust 2000 burpee challenge. I've got 3 days left of 100 burpees to do. So we've been in that Facebook group, and we have raised, I think, collectively, I believe it's over £10,000. So,
that's beautiful. That's awesome. Brava to you. Honestly, seriously. I mean, it's awesome. It's, such an important initiative. So thanks for all you're doing with that. Yeah, well, everything. So that takes us to your plant-based FM podcast. So why did you create this podcast, and tell us what goes on during these podcasts and where people can find them?
So again, I invested in a coach. I was mentored, and they said, I remember back in the day, they said, like, launch your own podcast. I just laughed at them. I went on I was invited as a guest onto the podcast, and I was so nervous, and the thought of actually hosting my own was as easy as it would be to fly to the moon. I did not think I would do it. But I was collectively in this mentorship, and I started seeing my peers create them, and I just started thinking, well, if they can do it, so can I. The only person that's holding me back is me. So I literally just thought, right, and also if you're thinking that everything has to be perfect, then you'll never start. So I literally just thought, right, okay, bam, January. A couple of years ago, I am starting. I called it the Planted Mindset podcast at the start. Plant-based and mindset, but probably a bit too obscure. And series 3 this year that I relaunched into plant-based FM, because I think that resonates. It's easier to understand. It stands for, obviously, plant-based, fit mum, but fitness, mindset, food and muscle. So it all encapsulates that. I've run it consistently for the 2, this is series 3 that we are on. And I feel really proud of myself to maintain that consistency, because it's a labor of love. I love it, but it is hard work.
Yeah, well, again, brava to you, because, I also have a coach who told me to create a podcast, and I've been dragging my feet. I was even interviewed by a person who coaches people on podcasts to actually kind of coach me in the direction of creating a podcast, and I still haven't done it. And so I am appearing on other people's podcasts, and I just love podcasts. Like, you know, when I'm walking to the supermarket, you know, going to the park, I you know, listen to podcasts. Sometimes even at home, I listen to them. And I just love that medium. So you know, I just want to applaud you for doing it. And it's true. Someone shared the other day about, you know, one of the, shall we say, you know, regrets kind of that she has about, you know, her podcast is that at the beginning she was not consistent, and now of course she's super consistent. And so, you know, at least you picked up on that, and you're just like, hey, I'm just gonna do this, and you know, so I just want to applaud you. So tell us, so I know you and I chatted on your podcast, and I you know, invite everyone to please go and listen to that episode if you want to hear a little bit more about if you want to hear a little bit more about me, and also of course Natasha we're sharing our journeys together. And you also do solo episodes, very, very informative, and like deep dives on different topics. So do you want to share a little bit about, I guess, about that? Like, you know, and also, I guess, what kind, you know, who are your, you know, the guests who you are interested in hosting, so that perhaps there might be some listeners who may want to be a guest on your show.
Sure. Firstly, I realized after saying my whole life I hate my voice, that actually I really enjoy doing the podcast. I thoroughly enjoy having great guests on like yourself. All of the guests I learn so much from. So it excites me to do the episode, and it is a passion. I just thoroughly enjoy it. I've always got either my headphone in listening to a podcast, or I'm recording one, or, you know, I'm looking for great guests to share their story. The guests that I've had on, again, obviously it's about that mindset, about food, about plant-based, and about fitness. And over in Ireland, there's a very successful fitness trainer, Brian Keane, and I've been following him for years, along with an endurance athlete as well, Marcus Smith. And I reached out to them on Instagram, and both of them have been on my podcast as a guest, and that was like a huge coup for me. Yeah. Because he's like my idol. I was messaging him when I was running my marathon, and he was a guest, and he gave me such positive feedback of the episode that we had together, and said, blimey, you know, you've done your research, and really flowed and really enjoyed it. So I get really good feedback, and that's what keeps me going. So again, there's times when I think, oh, you know, is anyone listening? You know, is it worth it? But again, it's a bit like the iceberg analogy in entrepreneurialism, as in podcast, or is it too late? I think the main thing is it's never too late, and don't underestimate that everyone that you see has made it has probably had to do so many years that you haven't seen. And so that's the analogy of the iceberg, the tip that you just see with years underneath. And I feel that is what I'm doing. You know, I've consistently got episodes, so you can see how crap I was right at the start. You can go back and have a listen, and hopefully see. But it's evolution, and that's, I don't mind. You know, that's where people then can have a chuckle and say, well, actually, she's evolved, because I can see how my graphics have changed. I can see how my episodes have changed, and I can see how my own confidence levels have changed. So it's there for people to see, and it's out there. I've left something for, you know, the world,
a legacy,
and I'm pleased that I'm doing that, and long may it continue.
Yeah. No, but I think that's very encouraging for people who, like myself, who are dragging my feet, you know. And, you know, you mentioned that, like, when I started these Instagram lives, like episode 1 in August of 2020, it was just a total disaster. I mean, I don't even know what to say about my first few episodes, but you're so right. Like, you know, I just became more comfortable, and, you know, of course the conversations got longer, and, you know, everyone was a little bit more at ease. So it's definitely a journey. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, you just keep learning and growing, learning and growing, learning and growing, learning and growing, and people can see that. They can see that through your social media. They can see it on podcasts. But a lot of the time as well, from a coaching perspective, people, it takes a long time for people to buy into someone, and they need to trust them. And I can understand that, because they're wanting to make a change, and it can be very personable. It can be quite upsetting to be where they are, and they're not going to make that decision lightly. So when you are putting out content, or you've got a podcast, people have different touch points. So they can see your written word, and then they can hear you, and they can see you. Well, you can see all my videos. So they get a feel that they get to know you, even though you don't know them.
Yeah, it is building a relationship. It really is. And I'm glad you said that, because, you know, I do find that, like, you know, we think, oh, yeah, well, this is just an overnight success or whatever. No. Like, people want to know who you are. And, you know, and like you were saying, you know, are you consistent, or are you like a one-hit wonder and you're just going to like poof disappear after X amount of time? You know, they want to see that that grit and that, you know, longevity and that stamina as well. So that's a really great point. I want to ask you if there are any future projects or services that you're working on that you want to share at this time. Oh, and where can people find your podcast? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Plant-Based FM, you can literally go to my website, sassy10.com. It's as easy as that. And then you can click along and you'll find the podcast, you'll find some blogs that I've written, and all the services that I offer. At the moment, I've got my head in my books. I've literally just submitted an assessment for nutrition coaching. So the whole point for me is as much about a continual journey of learning, changing my own body, changing my own mindset. So it's always learning, you know, the plant-based, about the growing the muscle. From a personal perspective, I am thinking of wanting to compete next year. And that will be super scary. But
you can do it. You can do it.
But again, to show others that, you know, look, I am normal. I am just like you, and I am pushing myself. So I tend to think that opportunities are going to come your way when you start putting out those energies. Obviously, we've got the program within zestforever.com, which is the creator of the two big Facebook groups. So we are serving a plant-based community there with obviously great recipes, whole food, plant-based, and that fitness. So we are working on that. We have a program there for that fitness. So if people are coming into it and then they want to obviously take on that whole food, plant-based, but they want to do the exercise as well, there's programs for there. And with Sassy 10, so that's obviously male and female, whatever age. And then my Sassy 10 program is a little bit more one-to-one, because I do give a lot of touch points to my clients with regards to that. Yes, it is all online, but it's that connection through WhatsApp, and texts and voice notes and stuff like that, because I want them to feel that I am beside them on that 10-week journey. And yeah, obviously get them those results. For me, I also work in a gym, so I'm supporting ladies with their fitness, well, literally 5 days a week as well. And I just love that empowerment where you see that someone couldn't do a sit-up and now they can. Someone, you know, has to buy new clothes in the gym because the clothes that they originally started in are too big.
They're falling off. They're falling off.
Yeah.
Literally.
But also sometimes when you see them break down with emotion, and I've had that a lot of times, and supporting them through that and showing that empathy that I understand what they're going through, and I can sympathize and have that connection. It's just such a wonderful place to be in this industry. I feel blessed that I'm in it, that people put their trust in me. I'll never stop learning to be better. I still have imposter syndrome. I still, you know, have the nerves, and this is why I can understand. I just am a normal person that won't give up.
That's beautiful. Wow. So tell everybody, please, where are the best places and what are the best ways for people to contact you for information, collaboration, questions, comments, etc.?
So just literally go to the website, sassy10.com. I am on Instagram, sassy10fitness. There is the plant-based_FM Instagram page. But honestly, reaching out, I would say DM on sassy10fitness if you're on Instagram, because we're going through this platform right now, and I will definitely see those messages. Alternatively, yeah, just www.sassy10.com and fill in an inquiry form then, and I will get that email.
Thank you. Awesome. So before we wrap this up and have you put a bow on it, I want to thank you so very much, Natasha, for coming in and chatting with us. I want to thank all of our guests, either live or on the replay, for your, support and your energy. And so, Natasha, just to kind of wrap this up for us and put a bow on it, do you have any final thoughts for us?
I think what I said to a lady this morning, it's so much about our own mindset. And one of the things that I said to her, because she was struggling with something, no one thinks less of you unless you give consent. And you have to free yourself from your own mental prison if you want to progress in whether that's your nutrition, your fitness, or going vegan or starting your podcast. The only person that is ever holding you back is yourself, and how you view things. So the true growth comes when we get uncomfortable and we push ourselves out of our comfort zone. And I've been doing that from 45 onwards, scaring myself constantly. I scared myself senseless last Sunday because I did a zip wire hang loose over in Blue Water in Kent in the UK. It's 70 foot up. It goes 50 miles an hour for 50 seconds.
No!
And I had birthday celebrations, so I wasn't feeling that great after my birthday celebrations, let's just put it that way. And it was very windy. That was out of my comfort zone. But it was for charity, and I did it. So you have to continually push yourself. Know that you can achieve anything. You're stronger than you think. And follow me on Sassy10 Fitness. Reach out if you want to be a guest, or that someone would be an awesome guest, obviously, for the podcast.
Awesome. And brava to you for that ziplining, because ziplining is terrifying. And I did it once in Costa Rica, and I'm just glad I did it. And I'm just glad I've decided I'm not doing it again. I mean, it was just terrifying, dangling over a forest, and it was just terrifying. So I just say hats off to you, and you're doing it for charity, and you're pushing your boundaries. So just hats off to you, brava, for that. So with that, I'm going to end the conversation here. I will save it to IGTV, my stories and my feed, and then I'll message you after.
Excellent. Yeah, and I can give you the link, obviously, for the Facebook groups. But if not, then Zest Forever is the website, and you'll be able to find the Facebook groups via that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Natasha, and I wish everybody a beautiful rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon. Take good care, everybody, and take care, Natasha. Take good care, Natasha. Thank you. Bye-bye.